Welcome to House Edge. Before we start the episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. And check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and Discord at House Edge Bet. Links down below. Enjoy the show.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to my portion of this week's House Edge episode. As Rob mentioned, we are unable to get our schedules aligned during these couple of holiday weeks, so the next couple posts will be in this fashion. Happy holidays to you all. Hope you spent some good time with your family. But yeah, let's get into a recap of my plays from last week in the NFL. I actually went positive 3-2 W, and I went 0-4 in college football. I think, again, that might be my second week in a row going 0-4 in college football. So maybe you should just full fade what I say in college football and it'll make you money. Got to decide what works for you. But yeah, let's get right into my NFL picks this week. The Bengals plus 3.5 against the Ravens. This isn't just a homer pick. I got good evidence to back this pick up. Joe Burrow is 15-2 against the spread when more than a 3-point underdog. He is a 3.5-point underdog today. Okay. This is my largest bet of the year on the Bengals plus 3.5. I'm also taking the money line, but not giving out that bet just in case. Ravens already won the first game. It's hard to win two games in this division. It's the best division in football, and the Bengals are much better than the team that they played earlier this year. Joe Burrow's healthy. He threw 2 interceptions last week. I bet he comes back this week and doesn't throw 2 interceptions, which the Ravens team won't be able to handle. My next pick is the Dirty Birds, the Eagles, 2.5-point underdogs against the Chiefs. I mean, if I had to handicap this game just based on this season's performance alone, the Eagles have to be a favorite for me. I believe this game is in Kansas City. It's Monday night, but the Eagles have just proven that they are overall a better team. Jalen Hurts has better weapons to work with than that Patrick Mahomes has on offense. They just got to double team Kelsey, make sure he doesn't get the ball, make somebody else beat them. The Eagles also want revenge for last year, right? They lost in the Super Bowl. It was in tragic fashion. They were up early. Chiefs with the comeback. The Chiefs deserved it, right? But this is where the Eagles get back. They're angrier than the Chiefs. I think they're going to get the win, as Rob alluded to with his money line pick. But I like taking the points always. And speaking of taking the points, I do not understand why the Vikings are underdogs against the Broncos. The Broncos they're on a roll. They've won 2 games straight, I believe. However, they won against Josh Allen, who, you guys want to hear a crazy stat? NFL interception leader in 2023, Josh Allen. Since 2022, Josh Allen. Since 2021, Josh Allen. Since 2020, Josh Allen. Since 2019, Josh Allen. And since 2018, Josh Allen. This guy is an interception throwing machine. All right. I think he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the NFL. I've always thought he was. He's got a big arm, and that's about it. Stephon Diggs makes him. I think Josh Dobbs also is not a bad quarterback at all. He's easily a good replacement for Kirk Cousins. And he's been able to get 2 wins for the Vikings in his first 2 weeks. I don't see why he can't do it against the worst team in the Broncos. Moving on, I have the Chargers-Packers over 43.5 points this week. I feel like this total is way too low for a Chargers offense that put up, I believe, close to 30 against the Lions last week, if not over 30. Let me just do some research here. Yeah, they put up 38 points against the Lions defense last week. I don't think they'll have any trouble doing that against the Packers defense. It's will they have to score that much that I'm worried about. But Jordan Love also showed signs of improvement last week for the first time since the first couple weeks. And the Chargers defense just let up 41 points to the Lions. Not saying the Lions are not a good team. All I'm saying is that I don't think these two defenses will be able to keep up with the offenses. I think this will soar over, be well into the 50s. Over 43.5 is a play. And last but not least, well, maybe it is the least, the Giants Commanders under 36.5 points. Giants totals have been consistently in the 30 ranges, and it's for a reason. The team cannot score. Tommy DeVito is not an NFL quarterback. We finally found somebody that's worse than Zach Wilson. He just simply should not be getting paid. There has to be somebody sitting on a bench somewhere that the Giants can pick up that will be able to put points on the board. I also don't think the Commanders are going to put up more than 24 points against the Giants, and I could very easily see this game going like 24-3 and even going under 30 points. But yeah, this is a fade of the Giants. The Giants are the worst team in football after the Panthers. So that wraps up my NFL picks. I got the Bengals 3.5 point underdogs against the Ravens, Eagles 2.5 point underdogs against the Chiefs, Vikings 2.5 point underdogs against the Broncos, over 43.5 in the Chargers Packers game, and under 36.5 in the Giants Commanders game. Moving on to my college plays. First play, I'm sharing this with Rob. He has this in one of his parlays. Michigan, 19.5 point favorites against Maryland. I mean, Penn State beat this team by almost 40, and Michigan should have beat us last week by almost 40. I think I went into depression after that Penn State game. James Franklin is never going to be him. James Franklin he just struggles against the good teams. His play calling doesn't make sense. He uses the offensive coordinator as a scapegoat a lot of the times when I feel like he should be able to make adjustments after this many years in this talented squads, but it is what it is. I'm done with Penn State for the year. They can play their garbage time games against Michigan State and then play in a New Year's Six bowl like they always do, and I'll bet them in the New Year's Six bowl because James likes to show up for those. But yeah, going back to my actual play, Michigan's the best team in football right now. Some people will argue Georgia's better just because they're now finally playing those ranked teams and they're beating them. But Michigan's win against Penn State, I think, is a stronger win than any of Georgia's wins so far this year. And they made us look bad. They've also blown out every other opponent that they've played against. And I think they're going to beat Ohio State in the last game of the year with or without Jim Harbaugh. Next play, I have Arizona 1.5 point underdogs against Utah. This Arizona team has shown some fight all year. They've shown up against the best teams in the Pac-12, and Utah just simply doesn't have much to play for in the Pac-12 this year. They're already sitting on 3 losses in the conference. I mean, there's teams with 0 losses, Washington, teams with 1 losses. There's almost no way they can even make it to the Pac-12 championship game. Arizona, I think that this is a big game for them. They see these big teams on their schedule and they say, hey, we deserve to be in the same conversation as these teams. We're just as good. I think they're going to get the outright win, but I like taking the points always. Next up, I have Ohio State. I got Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State, 27.5 point favorites against Minnesota. Ohio State was my only winning bet last week, so I'm going to trust them again this week. Minnesota, one of the worst teams in the Big Ten, simply put, and Ohio State is one of the best teams in the Big Ten. They have a very high-powered offense. They're at home. I think they're going to want to run up the score against this weak Minnesota team. I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota can only put up 3 to 7 points the entire game. And last but not least, we have Washington 2.5 point underdogs against Oregon State. I don't understand this line. Washington they have serious stakes with this game. Which, by the way, the Washington game last week, I put money on Washington to cover the spread. And when that guy was running that interception or that fumble back for a touchdown, and he drops it at the 3-yard line, not even close to the end zone, not like he was about to roll into the end zone and he drops it at like the half-yard line. He dropped it at the 3-yard line, and they don't cover by approximately 4 points. Almost lost my mind sitting at that bar. But yeah, I don't see why Oregon State should be favored against Washington. I understand they're at home. Washington just has so much more to play for, right? They're if they keep winning out, they're making the college football playoff. There is no doubt in my mind that this undefeated Washington team will make the college football playoff, and Michael Penix will probably win the Heisman as well. Yeah, that wraps up my college plays. I got Michigan 19.5-point favorites against Maryland, Arizona 1.5-point underdogs against Utah, Ohio State 27.5-point favorites against Minnesota, and Washington 2.5-point underdogs against Oregon State. And I got 3 2.5-point underdogs so far this week. But moving on to my parlays. My first parlay, my NFL parlay, I went money lines for both the NFL and both college football. Just do your job, get the win. I got the Lions money line against the Bears. Lions are just a much stronger team this year than the Bears. Tyson Bagent, he's actually looked pretty good replacing Justin Fields, but I think the Lions get it done. Tailing Rob on this one, Seahawks money line against the Rams. The Rams are just a different team than when they played the Seahawks in the first couple weeks. I think the Seahawks also will finally get a bounce back and get a W. Texans money line against the Cardinals. This goes against Rob's picks, but CJ Stroud should be in the MVP conversation. All right, he beat my Bengals and he looked good doing it. This man is for real. He's going to be a superstar in the NFL, and I love to see it, right? I love seeing young guys do well in the NFL. And last but not least, the Chargers money line against the Packers. It's a fate of a bad Packers team. I will say they did show some improvement, but I think the Chargers just have too much for them to handle. And that puts me at plus 446 for my NFL parlay. And my college football parlay is Washington State money line against Colorado. Colorado, the wheels have fallen off this year. We need Deion to get a couple recruiting years under his belt. Then that team, I think, can be a serious contender wherever they end up going. I'm not sure. Are they in the Pac-12 moving forward? That entire conference is like disbanding. Second, I got James Madison money line against Appalachian State. This James Madison team is for real, and they don't want to put any blemishes on their record, especially not against an Appalachian State, even though they're known to be party spoilers sometimes. Iowa money line against Illinois. This Iowa defense is the most legit thing I've seen in a very long time. They shut out their opponent last week. 22 points, and I think the over-under was around 28. They still went under. I'm taking a money line against a weak Illinois team. USC money line against UCLA. Rob alluded to this. Caleb Williams, there's no way he's going to lose this in one of his last show-off games in college football. He wants to be that number one pick. He's going to be that number one pick. Whoever needs a quarterback, they should trade up for him. This guy is a generational talent for real. And last but not least, the Texas Longhorns money line against Iowa State. I think Texas is going for the Big 12 win here. That's their only chance of getting into the playoff. Because of their loss, they're not going to get into the playoff. But Iowa State it's too high-powered of a Texas offense for Iowa State to do anything against them. That comes out to plus 491. Both of my parlays in the plus 400s. To recap, I got in the NFL Lions money line against the Bears, Seahawks against the Rams, Texans over the Cardinals, and Chargers over the Packers. While in college, I have Washington State over Colorado, James Madison over App State, the Hawkeyes over the Illini, USC over UCLA, and Texas over Iowa State. And coming up next, I have my Frisky 14. I'm looking through. Me and Rob only have two differences on our Frisky 14 this week. First one is the Bengals. I have the Bengals. Rob has the Ravens. I have the Chargers, Jags, Dolphins, Cowboys. I have the Texans. Rob has the Cardinals, Steelers, Commanders, Lions, 49ers, Bills, Seahawks, Vikings, and Eagles. We have a lot of We have a lot of big favorites going up against some poverty teams in the NFL, like the Cowboys, the Dolphins, the Commanders, the 49ers, the Bills. These guys just got to get their job done, right? Seems pretty easy. These are some of the lowest odds that I've had on my Frisky 14 because of all these favorites. But a couple underdogs like the Vikings, the Eagles, do boost those odds. So it still pays out a good amount. Don't you worry. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Hope you win your bets this weekend and have a fantastic week off if you do have it. Thanks for watching.